Welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist, and on today's show, selecting the right insurance agent, part one of our series on insurance protection and defensive planning with property casualty specialist Beth Glowacz. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks for having me.
I'm happy to have you. You've been in a property casualty business how long?
11 years.
11 years. Mm-hmm. How is this business? I mean, I know that you have relationships in that connect to the financial services as well through your husband and other people. But property casualty, day in and day out, this is all you do.
That's it. I love it.
And this is where you live. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a question because I'm always interested. What is the difference between a traditional independent agent and the ones I see on television, like, Allstate, State Farm, some of the farmers, people like that? Because they seem to be only a single shingle shop versus independents. They seem like they can shop anybody. Right,
we can. We have several different companies. We have a lot of choices for people to make. And with the captive agents, such as an Allstate, they only have the one product. So we have many, many ways to find you the right product that you're looking for and the best price.
Well, let me ask you this. How many companies do you think on average, look for home or auto, that you actually look at? You're looking at how many? 10, 15?
15.
15 carriers in the United States. Is that pretty much the market?
There's some more smaller companies out there that are a lower grade. We only do A-rated companies at our shop. So,
well, how important is that for the consumer now that you just brought that up, Beth? How important is it to have an A rating or higher?
A rating or higher means that the company has enough financial surplus that they can pay claims, which is what you want when you have insurance. If you have something happen, you want to make sure that your company can pay the claim for you.
Okay, so when I'm shopping as a regular person, if I went on the net, I've seen places where you can go out and shop, right? I saw that Progressive ad where you plug it in and it names, but it's naming the big names. It's not naming people that we deal with in brokerage. So I don't ever know if I'm getting the best price. Have you seen in your competition, because you've been in competition over a decade, have you seen that the 15 carriers that you play with, whoever that is going to win the bid, are they pretty much dominating? Are they going to beat the price of a State Farm, an Allstate, or a Farmers?
It depends. Sometimes they do. It's cyclical. Some companies will do rate increases where they're not competitive at the time, and then 6 months later, that's the go-to company. So it's constantly changing for our customers, and depending on what their background or driving record or claim record or credit record determines the rate.
Okay, if I'm looking for an advantage as a consumer and I'm shopping, I'm here. If I'm hearing correctly, I want to go to an independent agent because I'm going to get a lot more carriers to look at. It's going to be kind of like eBay. I'm going to be bidding, right? And to see what the price tags are. When you're doing the pricing, you have to think about what should be in that policy, whether it's homeowners or car. Are most people that come to you astute in that area? Do they know what they're doing?
No. They really don't. All they're basically looking for is price, and so we try to educate as much as we can. Reasons why we quote, for instance, on auto, higher limits because you typically get better rates with higher limits.
So there's like a break point the higher up you go. So when you see that and you're educating your client, they're just trying to get the basic coverage and call it a day, comply with the law, whatever state you're in.
Right.
But that may be a disadvantage ultimately in total coverage and your ability, your bang for the buck. Right. Sounds like you got to price it out. Right. I've always heard about bundling. Okay, now let's talk about that just for a second. Okay, now if I bundle, could I save actually more by trying to stay with the same carrier, even an independent agent like yourself, with homeowners, auto, and maybe even I've noticed that some will even give you a little cheap price on the PUP policy, an umbrella policy.
Right.
Is that better, or is that just kind of a single shingle advertisement?
It depends. It really depends on the company. Like some of my bigger carriers that offer home, auto, and PUP, they'll have a great rate on the auto and not so much on the home. So then we can shop for the home with another carrier. Some of my carriers offer the discount for having the auto in the agency. So it is a bundle. It's not your true bundle, but it is a companion policy discount.
That's new to me. So even though we have two independent carriers, and one's really good at car, but it's really not good at home, right? They're still going to give you a discount because you're coming to the table with both.
Right.
Well, is that, you say it's not as significant maybe, but if you're already starting with the better homeowner and the better car price, it seems like you'd get a pretty good deal then.
You do, and so it's another discount. consumers love the discounts. So the more discounts you can give them, the better.
Okay, now when I'm thinking of discounts, in proprietary carriers like Allstate and so forth, I notice they have all kinds like, hey, special student driver, special grade. He got good grades in school. They give him a plus for that. Hey, I haven't had any accidents in a long time. They're crediting my deductible, or they're sending me a check in the mail. Any of that independently?
Yes, absolutely. The good grades, good student, good driver, no claims. Been with the company for a certain amount of time. Longevity is also a claim that a discount that they can get, and it's really good.
Now, when I'm thinking of claims, it's not just price then. That's what I'm thinking here. Not just the price,
right?
Not just trying to get the best bang for your buck and good policy definitions, but claims.
Claims. Yes, and unfortunately, people think when they get the little crack in the windshield and they get it fixed, that's not going to affect them. But you do 3 or 4 of those in a year, and it will trigger a surcharge.
Well, I've noticed that some of the bigger property casualty companies are doing the whole accident forgiveness thing. You're like, hey, I had an accident. They're going to give you a pass on the first one.
Right.
Any of that in the independent carrier land?
We do, and that will, say, if they have certain levels of coverage, it's going to be probably in the next highest coverage package or the highest one. They will offer forgiveness.
Okay, so is that worth it? Would you say, let's say if you wanted the full coverage, and everything else is equal except the forgiveness.
Right.
I want to add that on just because maybe I'm getting older and I'm not as a careful driver as I used to be or whatever. Is that difference significant in the price?
You mean the more rate?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's called the superior package or whatever you want to call it. It'll probably add, 15, 20% to the premium, which could be significant.
So you have to price this out and see, is this a good deal? How much advice and consulting do you give when we get down to things like, here's what the policy provisions do, here's the claims, should I buy the forgiveness package or not? How much do you get involved in this, walking through and educating your clients?
Our main thing is to make sure that they're covered adequately, especially with their liability limits. Cheap, the lower the limits are not always the best to do. And if you get in a 5-car pile up and you're the end car and you're responsible for that accident, it can come in to some heavy duty claims, in a 30, 60, 25 minimum, which is what Texas has, would not be sufficient, and you would be financially obligated.
So if I just heard you say this, I'm thinking about the wreck we just saw here a couple of weeks ago on the 101, 26-car pile up.
Oh my goodness.
A person actually died in that event, but many people. So it sounded like you said that last guy, if he started it, right, he's going to be obligated for all 4 of those cars in front if they can prove that.
Right.
So claims is a big deal.
Claims is a big deal.
Pricing is a big deal. And what am I getting bang for the buck for the policy? And is it hard to compare when I get down to 2 carriers, when you're doing it and you're going to make your call and you're going to consult and recommend?
Right.
When you're down to 2, is there really distinguishing differences then? If price is pretty close, if it's pretty in the game, then I'm looking at policy definitions. Are there some carriers that are much more, let's just say, generous in their policy provisions towards client than others?
I haven't found that really.
So it's pretty even, you think?
Even.
It's pretty even.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I'm thinking about pricing, I've went online and I saw the car insurance for I think it was Progressive or whoever had the thing out. Hey, we may not be the lowest one, but here's ours. But I don't see that on any other insurance. I don't see it on renters. I don't see it on homeowners. So there must be different pricing models here going on.
Yes, there are. And like Progressive, like you mentioned, I also represent them. But if people go direct through them, where they have to call the 800 number and ask questions about their policy, they give a discount for going direct with them instead. So I'm like competing against the company.
But I'm kind of old-fashioned guy. I kind of want to know my person, right? I mean, don't you want a relationship?
And that's what we stress. We want the relationship.
I mean, would you have any idea what the difference is for going live or going, having a rep with you, or going on the 800 number and who knows who you're going to get?
Right, exactly. Do I know
Is there a difference in price? Do you think? I mean, you said they're giving a discount for that.
They give a discount on the policy premium.
So is it like $100
It's
or
$50 difference?
So $50 I don't get a human?
Right.
I don't know if I'm willing to pay. I'm just saying myself. I think I'm like everybody watching our show.
Right.
For $50, let me talk to Beth.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what we're the ones, we're your go-to. We will do all the shopping for you. That's what the independent means.
Well, listen, don't forget to watch part 2 of our series on insurance protection and defensive planning. What the insurance companies are looking for in your application. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, and financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.